All right, gang, we are going to specifically discuss labels in this session. Um, it's part of the dispositioning of a lead is making sure that you have the correct label associated with the lead. And I just wanted to go through and just first of all show you where to find the labels and then go through one by one what the labels are and what they represent and what they do. Okay, so when you're looking at your lead profile here, you would just hover over this section right here. If you click anywhere in here, it's going to populate this labels pop up, right? So all you simply have to do to assign a label to your lead would be to just click on it and then hit apply. And you'll see that it just added that hot label, okay? If you wanted to remove that or add a different one or add and remove, again, just simply either click on the label or anywhere in this field right here, that box pops back up and you can uncheck and then check a different one and then apply, and the appropriate label then applies, okay? So that's how you would add and or edit the labels that you have for your leads, okay? So let me go in and then explain what the different labels mean. Red here is your ready, hot, right now buyers. These are buyers that are going to be writing an offer in the next 30 days or less, okay? So as you're having conversations with people and you are working through your database, you know, your labels will change. You know, you will have labels that'll be your long-term nurtures, and then you'll move them into this warm category, and then you'll move them into red, right? So these are your hot right now clients, right? So if this client was ready to rock and roll, they should have a red label on them, okay? Your yellows are your warms. Again, these are buyer leads or buyer labels, and your B is your 30 to 90 days. They're going to write an offer on something, right? So through your conversations and your understanding and your clarity of your client, you've got a really good feeling or an indication or an expectation that in that 30 to 90 day period, your clients are going to be writing an offer, okay? The light blues, these are your long-term nurtures. These are your incubation leads. These are, 90 days plus, 90 days plus. That could be, 100 days. That could be 16, 18 months from now, right? It's anything over 90 days that you feel like before they're ready to write an offer. We don't use this scheduled appointments one too much. Touring homes one, we don't use too much. This is under contract, so once your buyer actually goes under contract, you would apply this label. This black bad number and bad number drip, right? I want to take a second to talk about these two. There are leads naturally because we generate so many of them where you'll get bad phone numbers. Okay, it happens. When you have clearly identified that it's a bad phone number because you've called and you get the doo-doo-doo, you reached a number that is no longer in service. That's obviously not a good phone number. And or if you call somebody and let's say the lead is Mary Smith and you call and it's Joe Blow, right? It's not Mary Smith. It's obvious that somebody gave a bogus phone number. Then you would apply the bad number label and the bad number drip. Now what happens when you apply this bad number drip is that the Commissions Inc. system will automatically in the background send a series of emails to the good email address that we have letting the lead know that we're trying to get in touch with them, but we don't have a good phone number for them. And if they could provide us with a good phone number, we'd be happy to give them great service. So it's nothing that you have to go in and send emails or do anything differently. By simply adding that label and hitting apply, it automatically puts into action an email plan to the lead to get them to basically raise their hand and say, hey, here's a good phone number for me. Okay. So in a bad phone number situation, or not a working number, or so if it's a wrong person situation or a not a working phone number, apply these, and you can it'll put that plan into place. This dark blue label here, this is what we use for once our leads have gone through our 21-day follow-up plan. So we get a brand new lead that comes in, they registered on the website, and we've put into place our 21-day follow-up system. And through that system, we've been unable to contact them. At that point and that point only do you apply this no contact lead pool label, and then the lead gets transferred into our lead pool. Okay, so that's the dark blue. This is a new construction label. Again, I mean, if you are working with somebody and the lead is specific to new construction, which is not all that often, but if they are specific to that, you would apply that. There's a series of emails that's also associated with that. That's good content, good quality stuff. We already talked about this one. Open house label. If you are doing open houses and you are lead capturing live bodies, live people walking into the home, and excuse me, and you're going to add them to your database, and you're going to then follow up with them in the future. Apply the open house label, and let's say a warm, right, or a hot, depending on the buyer's time frame. Okay, so this is where the lead came from, and this is their time frame. Our past client raving fans label. This is a pretty cool label. For those of us and you that have clients that we've had an opportunity to work with and we've closed, as soon as you go in and you apply this label to that lead profile, it immediately sets into action a follow-up task plan that all the agents individually then manage on an ongoing basis, which is the very first contact in that plan is for me to give my client a follow-up phone call, right? A congratulatory phone call or just a personal phone call. The next touch, which would be a month out, would be it's actually I think 24 days that it falls, and it always falls on a weekday. Would be to send a handwritten note, and then in another month they get a personal phone call from me, and then the following month they get another handwritten note. So it's every other month, phone call, handwritten note, which allows us to just continue to keep in touch and keep that personal relationship alive with those clients, right? It's part of our raving fans follow-up plan. The recruiting is not necessarily something that anybody really needs there. And then we've got seller labels. Again, you have a hot label. You're going to list the home in the next 45 days. You have a warm, which is at 45 to 90, and then 90 plus. Nurture. All three of these, again, when you apply any of them, it will then immediately employ a email drip campaign to the lead with seller-related content, right? Which is good stuff. It's really good email information. I think this one sends one, every other day or every third day, where I think these two are kind of once a week, if I remember right. Schedule listing appointment. Again, we don't really use that label all that often. Aged expired, we don't use that one that much anymore. It was a marketing campaign we were doing. Sphere of influence, SOI, pretty self-explanatory. If you're adding a lead to the system and it's sphere of influence, you would label it, let's say you would label it sphere of influence, and they are, 30 to 60 days out, okay? Spanish speaker, again, if you're having phone calls and you get somebody on the phone and they just do not speak English at all, and there's no way for you as an English speaker to be able to communicate with them, and or if you're a Spanish speaker and you know that they only speak Spanish, apply that label, and then that allows us to go in at any time and then sort by label. And be able to extract out of our database only the Spanish speakers if we wanted to, okay? And we could do that with any label that's here. Yard sign call, when we have a lot of listings, we will get phone calls on those listings, and as a way for us to track that and then to be able to go back in and sort by people that have called on our listings, you would apply that label. Again, you would apply yard sign and a hot ready right now, right? Does that make sense? And then the other one would be Zillow mortgage leads. I think we've abandoned those at this time, or we're no longer driving traffic to that. But so that's an overview of the leads. If you have questions, obviously reach out to anybody on the team and get clarity on it. But hopefully that explains everything that you need to know with respect to labels. Thanks, gang.